Sripada Srivallabha Charithamrutham Chapter 33. Sripada personally performed the wedding of Ramani and Narasimha Raidu. We took the permission of Sripada Srivallabha. Sripada instructed us, "My dear children, you go from here to Sri Pitikapuram. My auspicious blessing will be with you as an accompanying protection." In compliance with the command of Mahaguru Sri Dharmagupta, and I reached the bank of the river Krishna. On the other side, we saw the footprints of Sri Charan on a rock. Sripada used to stand on this rock and offer Surya Namaskara. We were surprised and felt happy to see the footprints of Sri Charan on that rock. We reached Panchamaveda Pada village. We were following the footsteps formed in the Johar field. The owner of that field accordingly invited us. He offered us sweet fruits to eat and gave some buttermilk to drink. The name of that cultivator was Narasimha Raidu. He built a house in his field. He requested us to rest in his house and accept his hospitality. We agreed. He described the glory of the sportive play of Sri Charan. He narrated, "Sir, my name is Narasimha Raidu. I was very weak and timid in my childhood. I lost my parents during my childhood. I was brought up in my maternal uncle's house. My auntie was very quarrelsome. I had to do lot of manual labor in his house. There was much more work in the farm. My uncle had a daughter named Ramani. She was very beautiful compared to all the girls in the houses of our relatives in that town. Besides that, she possessed good qualities. She had devotion to God. She used to worship Sri Krishna as her chosen deity. She could not tolerate when my aunt was providing me stale food. For me, food was too little and courtesy treatment was nil. Work was always a hassle. Ramani used to offer me sweet fruits and warm food without being seen by her mother. If my aunt were to see it, Ramani and I were getting blows and rebukes from my auntie. Even though my uncle was good, he was incapable. He could never protest his wife. Sometimes my maternal auntie used to get me beaten by strong young men belonging to other families of the Kapu caste. I was weak initially, but by those blows I became much weaker. I was also very timid. Therefore, the neighbors also used to consider me as an incapable fellow. I became subordinate even to those who were younger to me. As Ramani was very beautiful, the Kapu youths in that town had an intense desire to marry her. I did not have any property or cash. My body was very weak. Above all, I was timid. My uncle was wealthy and had property. Though good natured, he was greedy. My maternal auntie, though a shrewd, had a nature of getting divorced by flatterers. Ramani used to pray to Lord Krishna that I should be her husband under any circumstances. In the meanwhile, a fraudulent sannyasi came to our town. A powerful propaganda was carried out on that he worships Mother Kali and that he could tell the past, present, future. In fact, he had some powers. He forecasted to the citizens were providing to be 100% true. He brought our auntie under his undue influence through his deceptive words. Arrangements were made for him to conduct a worship of Kali in our house. He said that the clay idol of Krishna worshipped by Ramani daily should be thrown out of the house. My maternal auntie agreed. Ramani wept bitterly but in vain. The fake sannyasi began the worship. Many fowls were sacrificed. The room of worship was all desecrated with blood and presented a horrible appearance. Some human skulls and some more strange articles that are typically used for worship at the burial ground were kept in the house. He made all the inmates to believe that after the conclusion of the worship, rich hidden treasures would be uncovered, and with them the whole family would become rich. The fraudulent sannyasi also knew the art of inviling by charms. He hatched a plot to rob the chastity of Ramani with that art. Due to the varied methods of worship performed by him, the health of Ramani deteriorated. She started behaving in a queer manner. She was not her former self. She used to drink blood of night. She was only drinking blood instead of food. The fake sannyasi was convincingly telling that Mother Kali entered into her, and for that reason she was drinking blood, and that she would become a normal person on the exit of Mother Kali, and unless the blood obligation was offered, Kali would not be pacified and the hidden treasures would not be available. In this way, everything was very horrid. The food recipients were suddenly falling into the well. Human skeletons were seen in the house here and there. At midnight, strange figures appeared, making horrifying sound. All our house looked like a burial ground. Our maternal uncle was not bold enough to ask the fraudulent assent to leave the house. Our maternal auntie was hoping to get hidden treasures if the troubles were endured for few days. The whole situation was very confusing and vexing. During one night, the fake sannyasi approached Ramani. He felt that his desires would be satisfied as she yielded to the influence of his magical charm. When he came near her, Ramani cried aloud and in a frightened manner hit his head with an iron article. She did not know why she acted like that. The fraudulent assent also did not understand why the person under his control behaved so suddenly in such a fashion. Sripada's response to the distress call. After the daybreak, a poor Brahmin beggar came to our house. Ramani came out of the house and told him that there were a large number of ghost, spirit and devils, and that he may receive them as alms if he was so willing. The Brahmin agreed to it. His blooming face was placid and brilliant. In the meanwhile, our maternal uncle came out. Sir, in the house the situation is completely upset. If you want, you can receive those evil forces creating such circumstances as a gift. My maternal auntie also joined then. She said, there is nothing in our house. If you want, you can accept the poverty in our house. I was also present in the house. I said, Swami, there is a silver talisman with me coming from the time of my forefather. If you are willing to accept it. He agreed, and I gave him the silver talisman as bhiksha. In the meanwhile, the bogus assent bought some human skulls from the burial ground. He jigglingly said, you poor Brahmin, if you want, you can take these human skulls as bhiksha. He accepted. Suddenly, a divine radiance appeared in our house. The Brahmin visitor disappeared. Due to the divine radiance and fraudulent assent experienced burning sensation all over his body. From that radiance entered into Ramani. She became healthy. My maternal auntie had an attack of paralysis and she lost her speech. My maternal uncle developed a violent shivering. I received extreme courage. I felt as if some new strength entered my body. I felt that I was very strong. Blood streamed out of the mouth of the magician and all his faculties were lost. The divine radiance wore a human form. That divine glorious form belonged to the refugee of all the distress, the embodiment of all the god and goddesses, the one without beginning, middle or end. Sripada Srivallabha. Sri Charan said, in reality, Mother Kali destroys the demonious forces like lust, anger, etc., hidden in the seeker. but she does not want foul gods or other demonical forces of the world of life force assume the form of Kali and demand various type of sacrifice. The real Mother Kalika possesses auspicious qualities like love, peace and compassion. Devilish forces, ghost, spirit, etc. and demonizing forces in the world of life force style themselves as particular deities and exhibit evil arts. Evil magicians worship them and cause untold harm to the world. Note that minds of ghosts in the world of virtual force also have the capacity to assume the form of deities, but the divine powers will not exist in such forms. Assurance was given that I will incarnate whenever Dharma touches the bottommost level. This incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha came in the consequence with the assurance. The incarnation is invested with the infinite properties like love, peace, mercy and compassion. Our house was completely cleansed. The bogus sannyasi was driven out. With the grace of Sri Charan, the paralysis of my maternal auntie abated. Sripada personally blessed with his own hands and conducted my marriage with Ramani. Then his age actually was 12 years. He was in Pitikapuram at that time. He was in this Panchama Veda Pada with his subtle sportive body. These were the blessed turmeric powder mixed rice grains he granted us that day. He instructed us that Dharmagupta and Shankar Bhatt would visit this place in the future and some of this blessed turmeric powder mixed rice should be given to them. Oh, what a great sportive, playful incarnation. Here we come to end of chapter 33 of Sripada Srivallabha Charithamrutham. Om Sai Ram.